Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking more about film school. I already have a lot of videos about film school, but I still do get a lot of questions about it. So as long as you guys keep asking me questions about film school, I'll keep making videos about it. So if you have any other topics that you want me to cover, if you want me to make a video about something specific, please leave me a comment in the comment section and I will make a video about anything you want related to film school. But today's video is going to be how to prepare before you go to film school. So you could be a high school student who wants to just get a head start before going to film school, before applying, or you already got accepted and you want to, prepare a little bit more before you actually step foot in a classroom. These are just some things that you can do to get yourself prepared for that. I'm not saying that you have to do all of this before going to film school because, like I've said in my previous videos, you are going there to learn. You are not required to be this film expert. You are not required to have watched all of these movies before you step foot in a film class. Just because other people in your class have watched certain movies or they already know some of the terminology. If you don't know any of that stuff, it's totally okay because, like I said, you are going to the film classes to learn about it. Okay, so with that said, let's start with the things that you can take into account to prepare to film school. One of those things is knowing the basics, specifically about cameras and about film editing and maybe a little bit about lighting. But definitely try to get your hands on a DSLR, try to get acquainted with what a DSLR does, with the terminology of DSLRs like the ISO, shutter speed, frame rate, all of those things. Get your hands on a camera, film a couple videos here and there, try to change some of the settings, get acquainted with the DSLR. Chances are that's where you're going to be shooting most of your stuff. They're gonna have professional cameras in your film school probably that you can use, but in your free time, if you don't have anything, if you only have a DSLR or if you only have your phone, then yeah, I suggest you start getting acquainted with some of the DSLRs. I did not know how to use a DSLR at all before I went to film school. We took a photography class as one of my classes, and that's where we learned literally every single thing about cameras, from the most basic thing, and that's where I actually learned how to use the DSLR. So you definitely don't need to feel like you have to, but it could give you a head start. Apart from cameras, you should also be getting acquainted with some editing basics. I did know how to edit before I went to film school, but I only knew how to edit on iMovie, and before that it was Windows Movie Maker. Knowing those little basic things that I knew from iMovie really helped me when we were being taught how to edit on Avid and Premiere and Final Cut. You don't need to be an expert in all of those editing programs, but you can start with really easy ones like iMovie. Whatever you shoot with your DSLR, you can try to edit some things together on iMovie and, learn just the basic things about editing. There's a lot of basics, tutorials on YouTube, as well as great movies that you can study if you want to do more narrative editing like that. But I feel like that's a little bit too, not necessarily advanced, but you don't really need to know all of that before you go to film school. I just suggest that you try to get acquainted with how an editing program looks and just cutting some things together. Okay, so lighting. This one is the one that you shouldn't really be worrying about too much because you will learn in film school. I took so many lighting classes, and mind you, I had never touched a film light before I went to film school. I didn't know what a C-stand was. I didn't know anything about lighting. So I don't feel like you necessarily need to know, especially because it's hard to get your hands on, lighting equipment before you are in film school. But you can study up on some of the different lights that they use on film sets. Also, just get acquainted with basic 3-point lighting. But yeah, I would say those three things, DSLR basics, editing basics, and just lighting basics, would really help you once you get to film school and nobody else knows anything about it, but you know all of those basics. But don't brag about it. Nobody likes someone who's bragging too much. Okay, so this next one is pretty obvious, but basically watch movies. Watch a lot of movies. I'm not saying you need to watch all of the movies on the top 100 best movies of all time list, but you should get acquainted with some of those movies that are highly praised because it's very probable that you will be studying them in your classes. Jaws, Citizen Kane, The Godfather, all of these movies that are just very iconic and that they are in all of those top 100 movies that you must watch. You will be studying them in film school. These movies are very iconic for a reason, and it's because they shaped the filmmaking industry. And I'm not saying that you need to be an expert and watch all of those movies, but maybe watch a couple, study them, and read up on why they are so highly praised, why they are so, so studied. Trust me, I like bad Christmas movies that you can just put on and not really pay attention. I watch a lot of movies while I'm like cleaning my room, and while that's completely fine, it's just entertainment. But also watch some movies that you have to pay attention, turn off your phone, and just try to study the shots, try to study the storytelling techniques. Maybe watch some movies that have been nominated for Academy Awards, whether it be for, sound, for editing, for Best Picture, and try to see why those movies were nominated for each category. Basically, that's all I did when I was in high school. I just watched movies all the time in my laptop, not even like a TV or anything. I would watch movies like this on my laptop. I have a lot of movie recommendations on my channel. I'm not trying to plug my own channel, but I do have a lot of movie recommendations that I make. Movies to watch when you're sad, movies to watch that are just completely crazy. But of course, you will find a lot of movie lists online. Just study up on those movies. Why are they being so studied by filmmakers and the film industry? Okay, so the next one is listen to commentaries, interviews from directors. Sometimes we just watch a movie and that's that. We just make our own opinions about it. But if you want to maybe learn a little bit more about why some decisions were made, why the director decided to do this or that, then I suggest you read some interviews or listen to commentaries from directors. Also, what I do a lot is I listen to reviews, movie reviews from people just on YouTube. I do that while I drive. I don't watch the video while I drive. I just listen to it, okay? I usually do that after I have watched the movie because I've already formed my own opinions about it, and I want to listen to somebody else's opinion to see if they saw some things that I missed or if they interpreted something differently than me. But yeah, I would suggest you do that if you want to analyze movies and maybe you don't have anyone to talk to. You can listen to somebody else online talking about it. And yeah, it just gives you whole different perspectives on movies. Okay, so the next thing is probably an obvious one as well, and it's just make stuff. So like I said before, if you learned how to use your DSLR, go out and shoot whatever you want. My first videos were like me doing just little music videos. If I listen to a song that I really like on SoundCloud or something like that, I would just go around the lake and film whatever and just make a music video, like a moody music video from it. It would just be very random, but I would have a lot of fun shooting. I would edit the thing together and just upload it and see the reactions of people. And I feel like that is something that is very helpful, because if you want to be a filmmaker, you're going to be making things for people to see, for the whole world to see. So I suggest that you start making things now. Even if you haven't taken your first film class, just go out, even with your phone, and shoot whatever you want. Come back, edit it, and try to make a little story from it. Ever since I was little, I would make a bunch of movies just with my friends. I would like make scripts and make them acted and stuff. I have a video of me reacting to a lot of those movies actually on my channel. I feel like that really helped me, even though I was a kid and I was making zombie movies and High School Musical remakes. I was Troy Bolton. I feel like that really helped me find kind of my voice and figure out that what I wanted to be as a director. I feel like that's a good way for you to figure out what you really like. If you really like the process of shooting, if you really like setting up the shots and everything, you might find that you want to be a cinematographer. Or if what you really enjoy is the editing process, maybe you want to be an editor. And of course, there's like so many other film positions in the film industry that you will probably learn about at film school. But for now, it's good to just have an idea of what it is that you want to do. And I feel like a way to know that is just through making things. You don't have to upload them to YouTube, but I feel like that would be a really good way of just getting some people's opinions on your work and stuff, even if it's bad. Okay, so like I said before, you don't need to know any of this stuff before you go to film school. You don't need to prepare so much, because you will go there and you will learn, and you're gonna be a student, and no one is expecting you to know everything about filmmaking. Nobody's expecting you to watch every single Alfred Hitchcock film. This is just if you want to prepare a little bit before you go. I feel like these things are a good way to start. Okay guys, if you have any other video requests about film school or anything like that, please let me know in the comments and I will try my best to make a video about it. I really want to keep making videos about film school because I feel like a lot of people ask me a lot about it, and I don't know, if I can help in any way, then I'm more than happy to do a video about it. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Please give me a like if you liked this video and if you found it helpful, and subscribe if you want to see more like this. And with that, I will leave.